Hello, lovely people of Ghana. Welcome to Mesh TV, broadcast beyond borders. For the purpose of today's segment, I would like to be called Akusika. God bless our homeland Ghana and make our nation great and strong. Yen ara assassini. So man be here if you may anyway. Today, or the month of March, has been designated as a heritage month, whereby everything we do is about Ghana. So we eat Ghana, wear Ghana, and talk Ghana. Today we are going to talk about Ghana, our pride. And with me here is
Stanley Sechi Nana Kojo Jan.
you are welcome.
Thank you very much.
So the month of March, how has it been for you?
Well, it has been interesting. A lot of activities here and there, and then a lot of very beautiful minds to interact with. So, all in all, very interesting.
Okay, now on this month was when Ghana gained its independence. How has that affected the environment?
How has the independence affected our environment?
Yeah.
In terms of spirit, the independence has affected us positively. At least it helps us. It has helped us meet family and then friends. It has helped us group and then meet new persons, interact with people. And then for some people who are not aware of the history of Ghana, they've also gotten the opportunity with this independence celebration that we've already experienced to kind of get some surface level knowledge around independence and its significance to us as Ghanaians.
Now, the 67th independence was held in Koforidua.
Yes.
How was the ceremony like? What impact did it bring to the Koforidua, the people of Koforidua, and how was it celebrated?
Okay, so let me sit properly. So, um, Independence Day is not necessarily to remember the dead and then cry. It's to remember the dead who sacrificed themselves to get us where we are today. In as much as some may believe that we are in a situation where we can't boast too much of where we are, at least it has done something. So, on even before set match, Koforidua was very, very interesting. We experienced some helicopters flying in, even on our campus, the um, park or the field. We had three helicopters landing and then carrying some students out. And then also, we had some people who were given the opportunity to ride with some of the military personnel, right? So, when I say it's not about remembering people and then crying, but rather remembering them and being excited, right? What I'm inadvertently saying is, if you look at the experience children, mothers, fathers, families came together and then had, it tells you that the impact there in Koforidua was very exciting and was educative
Yeah, it was
too.
educated.
Yes.
It was educated. Now, as we're talking about independence, then it means that we were once colonized.
100%.
From your point of view, what do you think colonization was?
Colonization is making somebody your subject. So, like we are here, KTU. One day ATU says because they have resources or they are well established and we are not, and they see an opportunity to expand, they will just come and say they fought with us, conquered us, and then us ruling us. You get what I'm saying? So that is colonization. Basically, making another state subject to your ruling, your say. That's what colonization means.
So colonization basically it's another higher country ruling
Over
over
a lesser.
okay, okay. Now, do you think all African countries were colonized?
Most were colonized.
Okay.
Most were colonized, but not all.
Okay, so what are some of the things that differentiates those who were colonized from those who were not colonized? Do you think there are any clear distincts between those who were colonized and those who were not colonized?
Yes, yes. If you take a look at, let me use Ghana. If you take a look at Ghana, and this thing I'm saying, I'm referencing some of the conversations that came on during the LGBTQ bill stuff. I listened to an interview where some judge was citing something about our constitution. He was literally explaining how the constitution has been structured. and he stated in the interview that even in our constitution, our culture is taken into consideration, right? So if you look at us, we were colonized. So being colonized means you've lost a certain sum or a certain portion of your identity. So you must make the necessary changes to effect those things. To have at least your people remember what you have now, and then try and then figure out the remainder. So if you look at Ghana, if our constitution is taking consideration our culture, and you have countries that were not colonized, and in their constitution, their culture is not too much considered, but their laws are looking at not emotions but reality. You realize that there's a difference even in legalities. You get it. So that is one thing that is an experience that can be looked at.
Now, looking at the other African countries who were colonized, irrespective that we know that not all African countries were colonized,
True.
what were some of the effects, the positive effects of colonization to those who were colonized, or Ghana in particular? What are some of the positive those who colonized have brought to us?
So positivities with colonization, if I'm to mention, then I'll just come down to our level.
Okay, Ghana to be precise.
International networks,
Okay,
where we now have the opportunity to have conversations with other countries, not just African countries, but international bodies, and then say, okay, look, we have this thing, we want us to make good use of it. How can you help us out? That is one thing, connection. The second thing is it has bridged the gap between literacy and illiteracy, where now we can say that because of colonization, we have schooling system. Remember that when the colonizers came into Africa or into any country that they decided to colonize, they didn't have the education system which exists now. Their education system was to teach their ways, not to educate them on speaking, composure, those things. Even basic things. You get to the restaurant, they tell you table etiquette. We didn't have that. But with colonization came proper structuring. So we now know the things that if you are going into modernity, you should do. If you want to stick to the non-modernized way, we can easily tell. That's another benefit to it.
Please let me not interrupt the conversation.
Sure.
Does that mean that what we had then was of no value?
No, it was of value, because remember, value is subjective to the time and moment you live in. If I say, I have this bead, right? This bead I'm holding is of value to me because now the way I put myself, I have decided not to be wearing watches, right? Because of the sweat, and now it is valuable to me. At the time, what they were practicing was valuable to them. That is why today you see the essence of what they were practicing before, right? So yes, sometimes value in itself can be distorted, but if we look at it as a whole, you realize that the value then that they were enjoying was value itself. So we can't discredit anything from the past.
So, from positive sides as well, we can talk about the religion they brought to us. We
Yes.
can talk about the modernizations which have
Yes.
been also imputed in. Now, considering all these positive, were there some negatives as well?
Where there's positive, there's negative.
Yes.
And I'm taking this from quite a number of experiences, right? As you are into media, you sometimes publish something and your intention is right, but you end up having one. So there were negatives, negative effects. It initially I said something about our identity. Sorry, we lost certain portions of our identity. That is why you have people, when it comes to our culture and our ways, you have people who make certain arguments that when you compare it to our reality, you see that it is not because the person has decided to take that line of argument, but it's because the person does not understand why that thing
Being done.
is done. Yes. So when you look at the negative aspect, that is one thing, you lose your identity. Secondly, to even your culture becomes distorted. We say culture is a way of life. So
The way we live.
if the way I dress, the way I put myself. Remember, the footballers when they were having Ballon d'Or, so this Senegal player, he was with Liverpool. I've forgotten the name. Sadio Mane. he wore kaftan. When he wore the kaftan on Twitter at the time, when you read the comments of the Westerners, you realize that they don't see why you should dress like that. They feel like it's bad, right? And if you look at the other players over there or the other people there, you realize that they are dressed in the Western way. So they've even lost their culture. Representing your culture is very important because it shows how proud you are.
Where you are from.
Yes, and it even sells your home base, if I should call it that way, right? And if you also take another tangent, it has allowed for certain things to exist which need not to have been in existence. Up until 1970, LGBTQ was considered a mental disorder. So if you were probably professing that you were gay by that time, you were seen to have been someone that
Society.
What dream so you be taken to the medic center and then you taken care of or taken through this. But now look at modernity. Look at what it has done. Even the decision to say we don't want this practice
Has to even go through processes.
yes, it has been taken away. So these are three things that I can state that colonization has damaged us on those levels.
Weighing the positive and the negative. To me, there have been more negative than positive.
And I agree with you.
There have been negatives than positive because
Yes.
looking at our culture, looking at the way we used to do our things, and then looking at the things that has even been imposed on us, they taking out the rich resources we
Yes.
had.
Yes.
I think it has done us bad than good. You
Yes.
also you side with me, so can you
You are
also give some?
100% right. Take a look at the statistics positions that we enjoy. We're the world's second largest cocoa producing country, the world's number one gold production country, the world's this, the world's that, and then look at the country. You can't be best at something and your home does not see the
The
light of
benefits.
what you are doing.
Yeah.
It doesn't work that way. Once that thing begins to happen, then it means there are certain things that
Which
are
are not
called
being done right.
yes. And so if you look at colonization, aside the three I mentioned, which I agree with you, 100% it has destroyed us in so many ways, even to an extent, leadership. At the time, if you really go down into history, you realize that when it happens that they are looking for warriors, they are looking for confident people to stand in and represent their people. It was easy for society to find them. But with colonization came suppression. And the mind of a person or of an individual is, um, let me use something like this, right? If I'm able to break this into two, this rock or this stone into two, I have changed its form and I've also reduced its effectiveness,
Yes.
right? Um, I don't know if you've been to the riverside and tried flipping coins and stones before, but the larger the stone, the lesser, the more difficult it is for you to flip the stone on the surface of the
Yeah.
river. So that's what
They did
colonization
to
has,
us.
has done.
They have hit us
You
hard.
you came, suppressed that, and so it is difficult to. That's why we find it interesting when we see somebody who is so confident and courageous or bold to say what is necessary
Sure.
to be said. We find it very interesting. We are proud that I was signing for it, but before it wasn't a competition. Now we make it, we see it, and we are so excited. You understand? So it has, in a way, even affected our mentality.
The way we think.
Yes. Now children can stand up. Yes, the Bible says children obey your parents in the Lord. At the same time, when it goes down, when you read deeper, it tells parents not to provoke children.
Yes.
But it tells you to obey your parent because in as much as you want to express your disappointment to your parents, you need to be careful now
How
what
you
do
put
we
it.
see?
Oh, now people are able to stand out and
Yes, so
say their mind to them.
true. So if you look at it, it all stems down from the colonization part, where we are taught that disrespect equals telling your mind, or in Tree we say, "Oh, can't actually where you can tell your mind to the person, allow the person to see the flaws without going into that side."
Okay, so which people actually colonized Ghana? Which people?
We had the Portuguese, and then we had the British. The Portuguese came earlier, and then the British.
came as well. Now, I want to infuse our culture into the colonization aspects of the discussion.
Sure.
Has colonization affected our culture? or our
100%.
way of life?
100%.
How has it been?
It has affected our culture. Take a look at, I think the beginning of the year or late last year. Late last year, we had the Ashanti Kingdom or Ashanti Kingdom begging to have their relics returned, not demanding that their relics be returned, but begging.
Begging.
That's what it has done to our
Meanwhile,
culture.
it belongs to you. It
Yes, what
solely
belongs
belongs
to
to
you
you.
and
You
was taken
begging,
away,
you begging for it
now you are
to be.
begging for it. It was stolen from you,
Yeah.
right? And then secondly, to we mentioned the names of people that have made it, have contributed to our society, but we don't celebrate them.
Them.
Yes, Antoine. You understand? When it comes to the culture side of things, we mention her name to represent the idea that ladies are supposed to emulate that. So the feminist in our society, the true feminist, we use Yaya Santua to encourage little girls or ladies to be courageous and bold and then defend what is right. Right? But after that, what happens? That is all. You are taught to be courageous, but you are not taught to stay courageous. So I can teach you to read,
But
but to understand what you read and be able to express yourself, to let somebody understand what you have read, becomes a whole different thing. And if I leave you hanging, now how?
so which year did Ghana gain its independence?
Ghana gained its independence in 1957.
I know the Republic was in 1960 as well. Okay.
Yes, yes.
So who then stood for the colonization to be brought to a standstill in Ghana? As in, who was the first prime minister of Ghana then?
So I think your question, let me do the two parts.
Okay,
Who
okay,
then stood?
okay,
Number of people, big
okay,
six.
okay,
And then everybody who was working under them or with them,
okay.
they stood. Then if we talk about who was actually the force to bring it immediately or as soon as we needed it, then we talk about Kwame Nkrumah.
The
Right?
Osage.
And he later became the first prime minister of Ghana,
Okay.
and then Gold Coast.
So we want to talk about our cultures now, our festivals.
Sure.
I know the people of the Ashanti celebrate the Akwesida, the people of
Akoside,
the
yes.
Gans, the Homowo,
Yeah.
and then those of the Ewes are the
Yeah, we have the Hogbe Chuchu.
Chuchu, yeah, and then the North is the Damba.
Yeah.
Are we, irrespective of however we've been independent,
Yeah.
able to celebrate these festives with our, our hands on our chest, beating that yes, we have gained this independence and we're able to exhibit that yes, we have really gained the independence and then do everything of those festives in our cultural ways without any influence of the British.
Unfortunately not. Now, when I say unfortunately not, I'm looking at influence not that great, but influence that has diluted some people and their beliefs. So you are an Ewe, right?
I'm a Krobo.
A Krobo.
Yeah.
Okay. So with Krobos, you find that you have Krobos living in Tema and then other places
Yeah.
who, when Krobos are celebrating something, they will have a problem with it. When the Gans are celebrating their festival, they'll have a problem with it. When the Ewes, they'll have a problem. The Northerners, they'll have a problem. Why? Because they see that those things are things that we are more than we shouldn't do. Even without the presence or the force that was existing then,
Then
even without that today, people have still been captured in their minds. So they will have problems with our society. So when it comes to the question of our culture, our tradition, our celebrations, are we able to enjoy it or celebrate it as we should? It's it's a percentage of say 70% over 30. 70% yes, 30% no, because there's still work to be done on the diluted persons.
okay. Then can we talk about the foods? The
Yes,
food,
me I
yeah.
like food, so let's talk food.
Okay, okay. So the accounts with the fufu,
Ah,
but I can actually admit to the fact that now most of the foreigners come to Ghana and they love us that are African foods,
Yes,
African dishes.
they love it.
Yes.
Um, I have relatives outside, and I remember they had been away for so many years.
Yes.
They came down, and his name, my cousin's name, Jesse. When he came, we took him to in Tema. We have a place called Southern Fried Chicken, so SFC, like what you have here, KFC, in Tema Community 2. Now we took him there. He ate the jollof and then the sauce.
So
He was like, "Hey, your sauce here." And he's not the only person. When you
yeah.
go into these restaurants or even now chop bars, I remember
Even now we have the local dishes being sold outside as
in the
well.
African
Yes.
markets,
Yes.
whites go there to
The
buy our
vibe.
pepper. They go
Yeah.
there to buy our
The
stuff.
adrenaline,
So
the
we too, we are trying.
ponsusa, and all
When it comes
those
to the
things.
food too, we are winning.
Yeah, we are
It's
doing
Nigeria
that.
that is trying to make it look like it
But
can.
yes, they can
Yeah,
prepare
but
much the love than we
don't
do.
work. But on the subject of are we trying with our food, we really are, because we have some big league people or personalities who have come down to enjoy our musings, commented on it and said no. We have
This is
Yawajoyi,
Yawazoe.
Black Panther,
Okay.
one of the actresses. In fact, two of them came to Ghana during the Year of Return event. When they came, they were lodged at Kempesi. They enjoyed our cocoa and beans. They enjoyed our jollof.
What you call the gobe.
The gobe. Every boy's class killer, savior of the whole nation. Now, when they ate that, all those delicacies, they are like, Charlie, how I do? And you know what makes people mention a name wherever they go? Even Steve Harvey had to mention a name on a
Yeah.
podcast.
Yeah.
We have some people, the actresses who were on Oprah's show, is it Purple or something? They came here, it was all about the food.
Okay.
So our food is there.
We are doing well.
Can't go there. And there's no food,
Hello.
the food centered on one group specifically. It's all the foods
All the
that
foods.
we serve. Now, Lady Oye Kukaton, look at the way she was dishing some of the foods that don't even come from her side. The
Yeah.
foods that come
Yeah.
from her side.
Yeah.
I'm sitting behind my TV, I'm watching her like,
You are you are salivating
Yeah.
behind your television. Okay, thank you so much. So please, what's your last words to Ghanaians?
my last words to Ghanaians would be give yourself the chance to learn.
Okay.
Now, in my introduction, I should have stated that I'm the former CJ for KTU SRC last year. When in office, I had to learn, and I learned two things. I learned that it's not difficult to learn,
Yeah.
and secondly, it's not difficult to help someone learn. When I was in office, I could have chosen not to look up to people before me, people who have been there, because people had issues with those people. But I decided to learn. Let's learn to learn and appreciate learners. Have a mindset of the wolf pack, and that's my mindset. Anytime I watch animals, I try to observe why are they doing what they are doing and how is it helping them. In the wolf pack, the alpha male is a learner, and so when they are walking for a hunt or moving towards a hunt, the alpha male is not at the front of the pack;
Behind.
he's behind. And when behind, what he's doing is the weaker ones who are falling back, he's helping to push them off. And then those who are the front who think they are big, when an attack comes, the alpha male watches their moves and then predicts the move of the prey. Then when he strikes, everybody knows this strike is the kill strike. So let's have that mindset. Being a learner and then having the wolf pack kind of mentality, it helps us a lot. And then also be confident. Be confident but respectful.
Thank you so much for honoring our invitation.
Thank you for having me too as well. I hope that you meet another time and then go deeper into more conversation.
Surely, thank you so much for the knowledge impacted onto us all.
Alright.
Now, thank you so much, viewers, for staying with us throughout this conversation and interview. This is Mesh TV Ghana, broadcast beyond borders. For today's section, I'm Akusika. Now, for the month of March, let's eat Ghana, talk Ghana, and wear Ghana, and keep our nation clean, and then let the Lord help us in everything we do. This is why we say bye. See you another time.